Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I got some pretty bad news about the Supercharged 5.0 New Edge Mustang. So let's get into today's video. Alright guys, for those of you that don't know, this is my Vortec V1 5.0 swapped New Edge Mustang, and I finally compression tested the motor today just to verify if it was healthy or not, and definitely got some bad news about this thing. And I was so excited to work on this thing. This thing has long tube headers. It has the heads that came with the Cobras, which is I think GT40. It had a Cobra cam. This thing was ready to go. It also was T5, and it had a Hurst shifter in it. This thing has a lot of goodies, especially that Vortec V1, but now it looks like we're gonna have to wait a pretty long time before we can even get around to doing anything to this motor. And I was super excited to actually work on this and just get this thing running and put on the road, but I think it's going to be a very lengthy process now to even get this thing running. So let me explain to you guys what happened. So yeah, that is the Mustang, that's the motor, that's the Vortec V1. Like I said, I was super excited to work on this thing. It has so many good parts in it, and I picked this car up for 1,800 bucks, which isn't a bad price, even though the motor is hurt now, because you know, you get gearbox, rear end, you got a bunch of spare parts. Even the Vortec V1 is definitely valuable, but we did a compression test on it, and this motor has 5 hurt cylinders. And what I mean by that is the number 1 cylinder has a PSI rating of 95. That is extremely low. And then we have 4 other cylinders that are reading 0. When I put a drop of oil or a little bit of oil in those cylinders that read 0, it only bumps up to about 3 PSI. It doesn't come up at all. So something is definitely wrong. I don't know if it could be something in the head or if it's something in the bottom end, but that motor has to come out the car and it has to be taken apart. So I really didn't want to have to do that, but if I have to, it is what it is. I'll do it and just get it over with. But those were the actual compression numbers right there. And number 1 cylinder is 95 psi, number 2 is 0 psi, number 3 is 175. That seems about right. Number 4 is 165. It's a bit off, but it's close enough. Number 5 is 0, number 6 is 0, number 7 is 0, number 8 is 160 psi. So there's only 3 cylinders in this motor that are close enough that it should have been okay, which is 175, 165, and 160. The other ones, number 1 is 95. That is something is definitely wrong. And number 2, 5, 6, and 7 are 0. So to say the least, it is annoying that that it happened, but I can't say that it wasn't my fault. A lot of people would actually say, oh well, someone sold me this thing and it wasn't working. Actually, what I could have done is borrowed a compression tester, put positive and negative to it, and compression test the motor in the person's yard, and then I would have avoided a bad purchase to begin with. But we already have it. I take full blame for this because I constantly tell other people before they buy a motor, compression test it. Probably was just excited that it was supercharged, stick shift, it was already swapped into the car, that type of stuff, and ended up buying a dud of a motor, because that's what it is. There's no way to shy away from it, but it is what it is. I'm not sure if I'm gonna fix it, but I don't know. I might just pull the motor out and try to take the heads off, take the push rods, everything out of it, and maybe it's just the heads. I have a set of heads for that motor. Maybe it's the valves or something like that. I'll have to inspect that. But if it is the pistons, or if the person before me blew the motor up somehow, that's definitely going to be an expensive fix. I might need pistons, might need rods, who knows what it might actually be. But yeah, no more reason to speculate. The motor is hurt, it needs to come out the car, and I'm not really sure when I'm going to get around to doing that. I most likely will pull it out after I've already put the 5.0 motor back in my S14. I'm actually still having an issue even with my 4-valve swap. I'm having an issue where it's dripping oil from the front, so hopefully that's just a front main seal, and I can have this thing back on the road. But yeah, it's just one of those days. It's a tough job, but it is what it is. I have some stuff I need to order for the white and red Mustang. I think it's an intake manifold, some coils, and some spark plugs. Hopefully that fixes all of my issues with that, and I can get that exhaust welded up, and that can be on the road, because that thing has just been sitting for a while, and it's running. It's actually running. I've already done a burnout in it. It's not knocking. It sounds really good actually, so I actually need to work on that. But yeah, we're about to get the 5.0 put in the S14, and the 4-valve swap. Hopefully I can fix that oil leak and get it back on the road. But yeah, Supercharged 5.0 is hurt, to say the least, but it is what it is, and we'll get around to it eventually. Pull the motor out, put it on the stand, and figure out where the hell am I gonna go from there, because I really wasn't expecting to do any engine work at all. I thought I was just gonna have to buy a Holley Terminator X kit, slap that thing on, make sure it has proper fueling, big fuel pump, and go from there. But that motor definitely needs work, and we're gonna get around to it eventually. But depending on what's actually wrong with the motor, if it's just something valve related, push rod related, if it's something like that that is just easily fixed on the top, we could get away with doing it in the car. I don't really like to work on motors, no motor. I don't like to work on any motor where I have to go remove the heads in the car. I might just pull it. If the pistons and rods are damaged, I might just slap that Vortec V1 on my 5.0 for the S14, probably after a while, and go from there, and then just buy a carbureted 5.0, or rebuild that 5.0 and just carburate it and put it back together, put it in the car and go from there. But there's many different ways we can go about getting that car on the road. It's not really the main priority right now, but man, I don't know if it's y'all, but it is super painful to find out that the motor isn't gonna run the way it is. So there's nothing I can do where it's gonna be a cheap or easy fix to get that car on the road. I'm gonna have to spend some money to get that thing back. So best part is I have stock pistons and rods in the room. If I need any, I have them here, and hopefully we could get away with fixing it like that. But if it's the heads, I do have replacement heads as well in the room. We'll just have to take it apart and figure out what the hell is going on with it. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Always remember, don't drift without your dreams, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.